Hello, and welcome back to Marysville Viking TV. I'm your host, Josiah H, and today we have Mr. Catoni, our new vice principal here at Marysville High School. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
How did you move into the role of assistant principal, and what are the biggest differences between the responsibilities you have in the classroom and as the vice principal?
Well, in terms of moving into the role of assistant principal, first I had to be qualified for that, so I have a master's degree in educational leadership. And after the qualification was met, then I was able to apply for the job, and I had an interview, and then I was offered the position. In terms of my daily responsibilities as a classroom teacher, it is remarkably different. What's nice is it's still mostly relationships and investing in those relationships with students. I just have a wider lens than I used to have as opposed to my 150. The other big difference is the day moves, at least it has in the first 6 weeks here, a lot quicker. You kind of blink and it's 12 o'clock and you blink and it's 4.
Looking back on your teaching career, what do you miss about working directly with students?
I'd say I miss kind of the building of foundational principles in mathematics. That to me was always an important part of what I did here, outside of just investing in students and trying to provide myself as a resource to them as a person who's growing up, but also as their math instructor. So I miss that kind of day-to-day grind of accomplishing whatever unit we were in an algebra class, a pre-calculus class, or an AP calculus.
On the other hand, what challenges are you relieved that you don't have to deal with every day?
That's a good question. There's nothing in the classroom that I'm relieved to not do anymore. It wasn't, I didn't seek this position because I was done being a classroom teacher, but I will say the Sunday evenings hit a little differently in this new role. I think teachers refer to them as the Sunday scaries. I'm sure students have those as well. And so that hits a little bit differently, and that's, I'd say, something that I appreciate about the new position.
In what ways have your years in the classroom shaped your perspective as a minister?
So I would say it's incredibly helpful to have seen that side of classroom for 22 years, to kind of know what I hoped the person in my seat would do to support me as a classroom teacher, whether it was academically, behaviorally, or with a student that was in maybe some crisis. So that's been incredibly helpful in this seat as I look to support our students and look to support our staff. I'd say the other big thing that I appreciate is that I had my 22 years in this high school, and knowing the culture of this building, knowing the people that walk these hallways, whether they're students or staff or support staff, has been incredibly helpful for me, as opposed to maybe if I was in the same role in a new high school, I'd have a lot more to learn in addition to the new responsibilities.
As you begin your first year, what goals or challenges do you have?
Well, my biggest goal is to support students and to support staff. And that's going to look a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. What they need from me in my office will be unique to their challenges or their situations that they seek us out for, or that they're referred to our office for. So that, to me, is the biggest hope that I can deliver in this office, is that people feel supported when they need that support.
Since becoming the vice principal, have there been any unexpected challenges or eye-opening moments to give you another perspective on our school?
Absolutely. There's been a number of different situations that, I kind of thought I knew what this office handled on a day-to-day basis, that have come up across my desk, or have sat across from my desk in terms of a student or a staff that needed to speak about an issue, and it's completely been, in some ways, different than what I expected. Other things have been kind of as I expected, but yes, for sure, there's been situations that have kind of opened my eyes to new ways that student services, whether that's through counseling or that's through student activities and clubs and organizations, student behavior, attendance, academics. Our office handles all things students related, and so I have had my eyes open a couple different times too. Interesting. I didn't realize that that would be a conversation I'd be having today, but grateful to have that, and if people are needing support, grateful to be able to try to offer it to them.
After so many years at Marysville High School, what do you value about our culture and the Marysville community?
I value that we're a very dedicated community. What I mean by that is our students come to school, for the most part, ready to work, ready to engage, ready to compete in athletics or fine arts. We have a number of student clubs that run and are run by students and with the support of staff. Our student council, our MHS students do a lot of good work for our school climate and culture and to support students. But our community at large is a community that is invested in the success of Marysville High School. That's something that I've felt for my 22 years here. It was important for me to move my own family into Marysville and become a part of the fabric of this culture. And so to me, dedication is the big thing. I see that in our staff. I see that in our support staff. I see that in our student population, and I see it from our families. I've had quite a few calls home to update parents or to discuss certain things that are going on at school, and families by and large have been very supportive, and I appreciate that. And I think that speaks to their dedication for their commitment to their child and to the success of their child at Marysville Public Schools.
Students have noticed new rules this year, especially the backpack policy. Can you help us understand why you have placed that policy?
Yeah, we always are in the business of reviewing our policies to make sure that they are, supportive of our board goals. And one of our biggest board goals is student safety. And so our backpack policy that we initiated this year, we're about 7 weeks into it. It feels a little different now, I'm sure you'd admit, Josiah, than it did maybe in week 1. But it's largely a safety issue, and it's a space issue. If we have 30 backpacks in classrooms, that makes navigating classrooms a little bit difficult as well. But really, it's more of a safety issue. We also moved FIT to the end of the day, and that was not necessarily a policy change, but it was a huge schedule change. And for my 22 years here, FIT's been at 9:53 in the morning or whatever it was, and so that change was meant to also support students and athletes that leave early, appointments at the end of the day for parents that have to make medical appointments, and the opportunity to have had all your classes and then get intervention or extension that's needed in a specific class. So those are things that we're constantly reviewing, and that's kind of how we landed at that. And we're always trying to keep students safe and keep them engaged here in their classrooms, and we also want you to have a good time, socially, and have the opportunity to interact with your peers here. That's important to us as well.
What are some hobbies, talents, or interests that you have outside of work that we could be interested in?
Well, you probably wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I am a mediocre triathlete. So I've participated in about 20 triathlons and 2 half Ironmans. So that's something that I spend a lot of time outside of school with. Certainly, my family is very important to me, and we'd like to travel, we like to read, we like to spend time together and invest in I don't know what the right word to say is, but just activities that kind of broaden our horizons and introduce us to new experiences. So that's where most of my time is spent outside of school.
Do you have a favorite quote or piece of advice that you would like the students here at Marysville to hear?
Well, this is a good question, Josiah. A quote that I would like to share with students. I don't know that I have a quote per se, one that I write on the whiteboard, so to say, in my classroom or my office, but something that always sticks out to me is just that if you're either getting better or you're getting worse. There's no staying the same. So if you want to be better at something, you've got to intentionally work at that. And those kinds of mindsets to me are really important, whether it's academically or it's for a sports team or it's for a performance art stage or it's for maybe a piece of artwork that you're creating for a competition, that you need to be intentional if you want to get better. It doesn't just happen on its own, and either you're making strides towards that every day or you are making strides away from it, but there's never really just staying the same.
When this school year is over, what would you like students and staff to remember about your first year in Marysville High School as an assistant principal?
I'm hopeful they feel supported, Josiah. More than anything, I hope that at the end of the year they know that in this office, when they came in need of support, that we were able to do so. That doesn't always look like the support that they want, and I'm going to understand that what students and staff want and what I'm able to provide are not always going to be one and the same. But I truly hope they feel heard, and I truly hope they feel supported at the end of the day.
Thank you so much for answering these questions very thoughtfully.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Viking TV, and we will see you next week.